Hi Gemini, I'm going to be doing a self-love tarot reading. These are general messages. If they don't resonate with you this week, come back and maybe I can help you next week. These are self-love readings. They're designed for the universe to showcase areas where, we might be letting ourselves down, unfortunately, or areas where we can be more authentic with ourselves. Yeah. Part of self-love is self-acceptance, and it's hard to accept parts of yourself that you haven't really acknowledged. Fun stuff. I do a 6-card spread, Gemini. I shuffled a little bit before I got started, but, one more won't hurt.
That did actually hurt.
Alright, Gemini, like I said, I do a 6-card spread, and the 7th card I do is from the universe, spirit message. So let's get started. In this first position is going to be how you're feeling, or maybe where you are right now. In this second position is going to be something that spirit wants you to prioritize, to put more focus in. In this third position, this could be something that, maybe you aren't dealing with right now. You're not acknowledging, or you put off on the back burner, like you don't have time for it. But spirit is saying make time. It's a priority. Make it a priority. In this fourth position is going to be something that spirit wants you to acknowledge, to be more authentic with yourself. We all have so many different facets to ourselves. We are all so many different things. And the more of those things we are that we acknowledge, the more whole and complete we can be in ourselves. You'd be surprised what shows up here. In the fifth position is going to be something spirit wants you to let go of. In the sixth position is going to be something that spirit wants you to acknowledge. Maybe it's in your environment and you don't know it yet, or maybe it's coming into your environment and spirit just wants you to be aware of it. In this seventh position, we have spirit message, like I said. Let's get started. Gemini, right now you are feeling defeated. That's not very good. We have the 5 of Swords. Now, you are not this very badass, bodacious lady over here, Gemini, unfortunately. You were this man here who has been pinned to the ground. She's taking your swords, and she's off. Yeah, she's not coming back. This is that defeat energy. Why are you feeling defeated, Gemini? What's going on in your environment? The universe says that you shouldn't be because there's a portal waiting for you. Universe has in the position of what it wants you to prioritize is acknowledging this portal. There's something in your environment for Gemini. I keep meaning, oh my god. There's something in your environment, Gemini, that is going to, that is trying to allow you to move forward or to move somewhere else in like a different direction. But universe is saying you're not really paying attention to it right now. Maybe because you feel like you're defeated. Sometimes when we feel a sense of defeat, we feel like we didn't win. And because we feel like we didn't win, we feel like we don't deserve to, because we didn't win, we feel like we lost. And because we lost, we feel like we don't deserve a reward. So maybe there is a reward waiting for you, a portal, a way to change things, but you're just like, no, I'm too much of a loser. You are not a loser, Gemini. Don't feel like that. Don't put yourself down, baby. No. Okay, because now I don't do relationship readings, but this is important, so listen up. Universe is saying what it wants you to prioritize, what it wants you to take off the back burner, what you might have thought that you didn't have time for, or you weren't ready for, or just wasn't on your radar. Universe is saying you better bring it up, baby. We have the 2 of Cups, and this says straight up love. Look at them. Oh, that's so cute. The 2 of Cups. Not fully actualized, okay? Because the 2 of Cups, you see how these lovers aren't fully reflected yet? There is purity in their love, and that's great, but this is not full integration. We see full integration with the 10 of Cups. Well, they're not. I think they both are. I'll have to look again, but so we see love here. And this is you wanting love. And this, maybe you feel like you can't. Maybe you feel like, oof, Honey, that last time did not work out for me. I do not want it now. The universe is saying, actually, things can be different. We just need you to step through this portal that's right over here because we need you to start prioritizing loving other people. And you're just like, but I did it, but I didn't. It didn't go well last time. And universe is saying, like, yeah, we know. Hello. It could be different. It could be different. Really quickly, Gemini, I want to have this conversation with you about emotional space. Because I think most people don't think about it, but like, let's think about it for just a second, okay? You put emotional work into things, right? Like, say you have a partnership. Like, I'm just going to use this as an example because I do see the love here and this unwillingness or this, the sense of defeat. So, let's say you do have a partner and every single day you go to work, you have stress, you deal with your life and you come home and your partner goes to work and they deal with stress and they come home. And when they come home at the end of the day, you say, oh, hi baby, how was your day? That's emotional work because while you had stress, while you had all these other things going on around you, you're thinking about them and your relationship. You're taking time out of your day to put work into it. That's emotional work. Once that is ended, we have to give ourselves emotional space. When we break up with someone, we take physical space, but we also need to take emotional space. And the way we take emotional space is by acknowledging change, that things can be different. Let's say you were in a relationship with partner A. And partner A was never physically violent because that's not love. They were never disrespectful to you. They didn't force you to act like you were untrustworthy. They don't put you down. They're not mentally abusive because those things aren't love. I'm super sorry. Okay, so let's just say you were with partner A. And partner A had just like, selfish qualities. Like never mean to you, not like yelling at you or in your face or anything like that. Because again, there's no love in that. But they just had selfish qualities, okay? Like maybe, I don't know, like an example from my own life. Okay, maybe they ask you, hey, do you want your pizza now or do you want to wait till it cools down? And you're like, well, if it's hot, I'll just wait till it cools down. And they come over and they have their pizza and you're like, oh, is it not too hot to eat? And they say, oh, well, I put mine in the freezer. It's not mean. It's not malicious. That's not what they're doing. It's just that they did not take the time to think about you. That's self-focused. And it's totally fine to be self-focused. But when we take it into selfishness and self-centeredness, there are many more examples of this, it becomes a conflict. Because if you two are both in this situation where your goal is to have a good and healthy relationship, having somebody in that relationship with very self-centered motivations is going to hinder any kind of progress you guys want to make. So while it's fine for you to be self-focused, you have to be very careful before you turn that into selfishness. And in a relationship, when we talk about, well, I'm not sure, but in Christianity, we talk about the 2 cups, right? I come home at the end of the day and my cup is very low because I had a lot of stress at work, and I tell my partner, oh, hi baby, how was your day? And they're like, well, then my cup might actually get even lower, my emotional cup, my emotional tank, or however you want to describe it. But if they go, oh, baby, my day was so bad, and it was like this, and then we both sit there and we go, yeah, and they go, how was your day? And then I get to go, well, my boss yelled at me and I had all this stuff and I was really late. And them giving me that time and putting that emotional work into me fills my cup up. We should both frequently be pouring into each other's cups. It doesn't have to be equal, not tit for tat. Like, we can't look at things like that. But like, we should both be experiencing the same amount of love, okay? If in the past you didn't get that, you have to give yourself emotional space from that, because things can be different. Different people, different situations, different you. You could be different now. And the position is something Spirit wants you to acknowledge, to be more authentic with yourself, Gemini. Ooh, you should have seen this coming, baby. Look at this fiery energy. Gemini. Whenever I think of Gemini, I always I get so confused about how you're an an air sign, because I'm like, what about all the spiciness? What about all the spicy? How did you pack all that spicy into air? Is it like salt and vinegar chips where like you go and then go because it's so spicy, but it's not really because it's air? Gemini are salt and vinegar chips. But look at this, okay? You are brave enough to deal with this sense of defeat and to move forward. These are habits that we build, okay? So if we stay stuck on this fear that things can't move forward, things won't move forward. So we want to build this habit of believing in ourselves. Believing in ourselves, believing in our ability, because we're brave. The Queen of Wands is somebody who's fully in her intuition and fully embraced the passion and energy in her, the bravery that drives her. So universe is saying they want you to showcase more of that energy, because it will attract more positive things to you, and then you will feel confident enough in yourself to move on with whatever's going on. What the universe wants you to let go of is the Lovers. Maybe, Gemini, you really are coming out of something, because the Lovers in this deck always indicates to me a home. Look at this family, right? We have the walls up here, the ceiling. Cupid is shooting down arrows, and there's children here. I don't think this is telling you to let go of the idea that you're ever going to have this perfect home. Well, first off, perfect doesn't exist, so if that is your idea, you should let that go for sure. There are always going to be problems, always. We are human, and conflict is pervasive. Anytime you share an incompatibility of goals with somebody, that's a conflict. It depends on how you handle it, but it's always going to be there. So don't act like, I'm going to find the one, and we're never ever going to argue. Because if you're not arguing, that's also bad. There's no such thing as perfect, and if you're not arguing, somebody is letting something go. And like, yeah, that's good, but if you're bottling things up, that's never good. So I think like letting go of this sense, or if in the past you felt like that past person was it for you, Gemini, I think that you have to let go of that too. What the universe wants you to acknowledge is if you do these things, you will find abundance. What I love about this, the Three of Cups, look at those, look at them, they're partying. This abundance is not material, this abundance is relational, okay? I just want to use the example of girls, okay? Sometimes when girls are friends with other girls, they become very possessive, okay? Anybody can be possessive, but I'm thinking like specifically like 13, 14, 15. They can become very possessive because they attach so much of their self-worth to that other person that they can't really just like function apart. And then one of them will say, well, you can't have other friends. Or anytime this one does anything that this one doesn't like, it's like, well, we can't be friends, or I'm attacking you. They become very, very possessive. And that stops us from, you know, moving forward, because we can't get away from that other person. When we come into abundance, though, when we let go of that one person, sorry, this card right here, if we can let go of that idea or that one person, though, we can make room for so much more in our lives. So if we get rid of that one possessive person, well, now we can have 4 or 5 different friends. Your relationship with someone else should never directly, should never cause other relationships in your life to become problematic. Does that make sense? I know that sometimes when we date people, we think, okay, well, I should like cut off the other dudes in my life. Well, only if those other dudes are trying to bump, and like all of them are, not all of them are trying to bump. Not all guys, not all men are trying to bump. But like, you know, if they are, then those are the ones you just cut off. And like, if they're not, then like you're really cool friends, and that's cool, because sometimes I have guy friends who like I've had since high school, so that's fine. But when we cut off that negative, toxic person, we make so much more room in our lives. Relational room. Look, you went from having like one person to having like 2 people. And I know that's like not that much more, but like so much more support. Because you could be with one person forever and never ever receive the kind of support. You could be with someone forever and never receive the kind of support that you need from them. And then you can get rid of that one person and find a whole support group, whole support network. But you were never able to do it because you couldn't move freely on your own. What universe wants you to know, Gemini, is the Prince of Wands. Prince of Wands is the Knight, and this is movement to me. This is you getting up on that chariot and saying, yes, okay, I am ready to move forward. This is a green light for you to move forward in strength and bravery, you see, because of the fire, okay? And he has his staff here too. He has a staff, so he's well equipped to move forward. And the universe is telling you, it's time, Gemini. I'm going to clarify with the Shamanic Healing Oracle deck. There's such pretty cards. Oh, well, let's see. So universe was saying that you are feeling a sense of defeat right now, and what they want you to focus on instead is this healing energy. What's going to help you move out of this sense of defeat? Is there something that you is there something that's going to help you move on, or is there something that's like keeping you stuck in this sense of defeat? Is it your belief about what things, like how things should be? The problem with habits is they do tend to stem from beliefs. They do. I was going to say tend to stem, but this is actually maybe a problem of perception. A lot of the time, how we feel things should be are not actually how they will be. And because of our sense of how we think things should be, we can't accept things as how they are. And by allowing us to accept things as they are, to accept things for what they really are, we give ourselves that energy to heal, that space from things, that emotional distance. Let's see. The universe is saying they want you to prioritize this portal, that there's something, there's a doorway for you to move forward, but like you're not prioritizing it. I don't know what it is, but I think that you do, because this is my intuition card, my psychic abilities card. When we spend time listening to ourselves, we make it easier to listen to ourselves, and in that way develop our intuition. The universe is saying you know what this is. Your intuition is telling you what this is, but maybe there's that fear, okay? It doesn't have to be relationships, but like it could be your career. Maybe you're in a career that you don't love, and Spirit is saying, hey, there's this portal to come into something you do love, and you don't have to be afraid. Ancient wisdom. Okay, so don't be afraid, because sometimes when we experience trauma or when we go through something, we develop these coping mechanisms, okay? And to let go of those coping mechanisms can be incredibly scary. You become dependent because you're trying to cope, right? So like that goes hand in hand. And we want to let go of those things, but we're afraid of who we'll become if we do. If that doesn't make sense to you, then don't worry about it. But if it does, I want you to know that I used to be a very, very angry person. I grew up in a very unsupportive environment, and I learned to depend on myself at an early age. The problem with that is that no one sees you as capable. They see you as a child, and they treat you like a child. And the frustration, okay, like, no, seriously. And I used to be very angry for a long time. I moved out of my family's house when I was 16. I stopped living there when I was 15, but I moved out officially when I was 16 because I was tired of feeling like a child when I'm not. And I know I look like this, and constantly people underestimate my age, and it's like, thank you so much. And I don't understand how someone with so much trauma and baggage looks like still young and hopeful. It's so weird. But what I'm saying is that I was in a very unsupportive environment, and I was very angry for a long time. But I made the choice to leave that anger behind, and it was super duper hard. I used it as motivation for such a long time. I depended on it. It drove me. It was like really a part of me, that anger was. And when I chose to let it go, it was so scary. Because I didn't know where I'd get my motivation. I didn't know what would protect me. I didn't know who I would be. But ancient wisdom always tells me that no matter what happens to a tree, it's the same tree. No matter what environment you put it in, it's the same tree. No matter how it has to adapt to survive in its environment, it is the same tree. And if you let go of whatever this fear is or whatever's holding you back and you go through this portal, you're still going to be you. Gemini, you're still going to be you. You can't lose you. You're literally stuck in here, okay? Most people are always mad that they can't lose themselves. But to let go of something that does hold you back. It's not a bad thing. Something the universe wants you to take off the back burner and put more energy into for yourself is this sense of love. I would think self-love, but because there's those two people there, I would think it's something that you want in your life. It could be a partner, but it also could be a career that you love, or it could be just more love in your family or in the relationships that you have. Joy. Prioritize joy with yourself. You can't make other people happy, okay? You can want it. You can want to give them as many resources, as many opportunities as they can to be happy, as many ways out, but we can't do anything for them to be happy. They have to find happiness, and you have to find your own joy. And in being joyful, you attract other joyful people. You also attract other people who aren't joyful and would like some of your joy. You need to be discerning about that, okay? But if there is love in your life, seek love by giving love and being joyful. It's all good. It's good. It's good. It's good. Bruce Almighty. Love it. Okay. Universe is saying to be more authentic with yourself, Gemini, by being the baddie that you know that you are. If you need to cut something off, cut it off. Deal with it first. This is self-love group. This isn't, toxic behavior group. Deal with it first, Gemini. But you are brave and you can handle it. I feel tons of bravery from you. Yes, this is your past, present, and future card. This is your habits card, okay? In the past, it's entirely possible that you have not felt brave enough to deal with situations, and that's fair, because if we grow up in an environment where we are not encouraged, or if we are punished for asserting our feelings or telling how we feel, or doing what seems right for us, then you would definitely develop habits of not standing up for yourself. But Gemini, here you are brave, and this situation could just be a lesson or a test on bravery, on standing up for yourself. But when we move forward into the future, if we've learned the lesson, it's not as hard next time. Let's say with boundaries, okay? Somebody is like pushing your boundaries, so they're kind of walking on you. If you allow that behavior, they're going to continue to walk on you, and you'll feel bad about it. You'll feel like embarrassed or guilt or shame or some ugly sort of emotion that you shouldn't have to feel, because you shouldn't have to do things you don't want to do, because you don't have to do things you don't want to do, Gemini. But let's say they're pushing your boundaries, okay? In the past, if you let that happen, then when you try to assert a boundary more strongly in the future, they're going to walk all over that one too. And then you really have to put your foot down, and you have to figure out for yourself if this boundary is necessary or if this person is necessary, okay? But in the future, the next time that happens, I guarantee you will cut that person off, Gemini. We learn from our past experiences. So don't feel bad about what you couldn't do in the past. Just know that we can do better and do differently in the future. Let's see. Duality. Wow. Okay. So this is the part of yourself that you have to integrate. Gemini, I'm super sorry, Gemini. This is the part of yourself that you have to integrate. If in the past you have seemed or shown yourself to be someone who doesn't feel brave or feel capable, other people are going to notice that about you. They will. One, it sets a bad example, because you are totally capable. You literally, totally, completely are capable. You wouldn't be where you are now if you weren't. And other people see you as an example. And if you go around with this self-defeated attitude sometimes, then people are going to see that and they're going to think that, well, I think Gemini is amazing and courageous and brave, but if they think they're like a loser, then maybe I'm a loser too. Frick, that's not a good example to set. You don't want to set that example. But then also, if you act self-defeated, if you act like you're not brave enough, then you're going to start to believe that you're not brave enough. But the universe is saying this is the part of you that you have to integrate. Integration, duality, okay? So maybe sometimes you don't act brave. Maybe sometimes you're scared, but being scared is okay. You can be scared and be brave sometimes. That's part of that integration, accepting all aspects of yourself. Universe says you need to let go of this idea of lovers. And I don't think it's the idea that one day you'll have a perfect home. I think it's the idea that it has to be the exact way you want it to be, or perhaps with the person you want it to be with. The universe is saying you got to let go of that idea, okay? Because I kind of see that here too with this defeat. Like if you're just you're holding on to something that's not good for you. And in this letting go of the Lovers, you might be holding on to something that's not good for you. And in that way, that's a pattern, those are habits, holding on to things that aren't good for you. And self-love is about redirecting those habits so that we're getting what is good for us. Like I said, we develop these habits as we grow up, where we learn to just please other people, to not be punished, or to be out of the way, or children are supposed to be seen and not heard, or whatever. However you grew up, we learn these patterns of giving more and more of our energy away. But we have to learn to get back. And right now I'm seeing that you don't have a problem giving. I'm seeing that it's probably a problem with getting. And if you're not getting from somebody, you have to look at those habits and the belief system from where those habits stem, and we have to rewrite that belief system. Why does it have to be this person? Why does it have to be this way? Yeah. And we have to give ourselves forgiveness. Emotional space, okay? I think we just talked about that, right? By saying that the habit can change, that we are different, that person would be different, the situation could be different. We can give ourselves emotional space from what we put our emotions into. And if we've put time and energy, emotional energy, into a situation, into a person, and then we feel like it's not enough and the situation isn't thriving, it can be really hard to admit that it's not our fault, and then that's just the situation or just that energy, and that's not for us. It can be really hard to admit that. But when we can admit that, when we can say, I tried my best, well, then we forgive the situation. We say, okay, so I tried my best. I tried my hardest, but this situation wasn't for me, and so it wasn't something that I was able to, integrate into or become a part of. And that's okay. That's no one's fault. I forgive the situation. Forgiveness, emotional space. Or maybe it's the person. Maybe you really like the person. Maybe that person really likes you, but for whatever reason, it just really doesn't get off the ground. Or maybe it does get off the ground, but I don't know, there's just that tension, that inability to deal with things. Hopefully there's no physical or emotional abuse, because again, that's not love. Okay, if you need help clarifying, you hit me up on my Instagram tonight, and I'll be like, baby, no. You tell me what's going on, okay? Because if somebody disrespects you enough to put their hands on your body, or to deny you things, to oppress you in some way, that is not love. That is ego, and ego is the absence of love. If that's the situation, if you put a time and energy into somebody like that, you have to forgive yourself, and you have to forgive them too. They're just not at a place that they can be there for you the way that you want. And that's not their fault. They're just not there yet. Maybe in the future, but probably in the future you'll be somewhere else too. The thing is, they say age is nothing but a number, but age is experience. And you can be 47 years old, and even, if you age 20 years, you're 60, that person who was 20 years younger than you, they're still going to be 20 years younger than you. You just have to find that forgiveness, okay? Sometimes people just can't meet you. They're not for you. And you say, thank you. I'm going to go now. Omens. There's probably been signs happening around you, Gemini, that have shown you that, this isn't really great. Just little overlapses, coincidences. Things happen and you're just maybe don't say anything to anybody about it, but you notice it. I always notice those things. People are like, what? And I'm just like, you wouldn't, I would take a long time to So to go from that energy, like we talked about, from somebody who blocks you from things, or doesn't let you do the things, or whatever it is, somebody who is possessive of you, and letting go of that, you're going to be able to find that abundance, okay? We talked about that, but the universe wants you to acknowledge that abundance is there, but that it will be a struggle, okay? If you're dealing with a narcissist, somebody who's very possessive, or if you had in the past, you need to understand that not everyone is like that. They're not all like that. It might be your attachment style that kind of draws those types of people in, and for that you should definitely talk to somebody, because you don't want to keep repeating those kinds of patterns. But if you have been in relationships with narcissists, even with narcissistic parents, it's very easy to think, oh my God, that's just how people are. And it's very hard to let that kind of stuff go. But when we move from those kinds of relationships into healthy relationships, that's also kind of hard. I highly recommend professionals. I have seen therapists and psychologists. Therapists will listen to you. They're like, I always pick grandmas. I always pick grandmas. I just want somebody to sit there and go, oh, honey, you know, and like make me feel good. So I always pick a therapist because they listen. But for a psychologist, I always pick like an older lady who like would probably make me scared in real life if I saw her, because she seems very like sure of herself and confident. I always pick those kinds of ladies, and then they're like, this is what's wrong with you. And I'm like, oh my God, thank you. Wow. And then they're like, we can reshape those ways of thinking by doing this. So I always recommend, professional help. Always. Like, there's no shame in that. There's no, like, if you wanted your hair to look different, you'd go to a professional. If you needed a surgery to deal with something inside your body, you'd go to a professional. If your mental health is not where you want it to be, go to a professional. There's no shame in that. None whatsoever. But it might be a struggle because I know that, like, in a lot of cultures or in a lot of situations, people are put down for things like that. Oh, you crazy? Yes. Yes, I am. You made me that way. Thank you. Now I need to go see someone about it. Don't be here when I get back. Bye. Slow but steady, okay? When something's hard, we don't just continue to repeatedly slam our heads into it. We don't just continuously like fight against it. We slow and steady. Maybe just back off a bit. Maybe reevaluate. But the universe says to keep going, okay? Keep going in strength. Keep going in this energy, this passion, to move forward, okay? Right now, I don't see a lot of this movement, but universe is encouraging you to move. Yeah, it's a transformation. It's going to take time. It's going to be slow and steady. But when we come through this, we're going to be able to move forward. And after all, isn't that what we all want? Like, I would believe that if you were watching a tarot video on self-love, you would want change. Okay, a transformation, you would want to move forward. So this is my last card, Gemini. I would just do a real quick recap, okay? Right now, I get the sense that you're not moving forward because of this sense of defeat. Defeat was in how you're feeling right now. And the sense of moving forward was something the universe wants you to prioritize. And the universe wants you to prioritize moving forwards towards love. It doesn't have to be another person, but it is something outside of yourself. If there's a new thing you want to try, if there's a new relationship that you're interested in, the universe doesn't want you to be scared that things won't change, because the universe is saying change is available to you. The universe is saying act from a place of victory. Come from a place of victory, Taurus. Be brave. Be a badass. Okay? Let go of any sense that it has to be a certain way or with a certain person, because we are not in control of that at all. And if you let go of something that's holding you back, the ability to come into like higher abundance is there for you. But you have to take that opportunity. It's a portal. It's just sitting there. You have to walk through it. And the universe is giving you that green light. It is encouraging you to move forward, to transform. Don't be afraid. Okay, Gemini? You don't have to be afraid. I hope that helped. If you need to talk about anything, I have my email address and my Instagram in the box below. Please have a good day.